Hi, welcome to the Espresso, your daily shot of Chinese words with Catherine Xiang. 大家好，欢迎来到我的频道字 Espresso。在这个频道呢，我们看字和词之间的关系。但是呢，在我们这一集的名师讲坛，非常幸运的请到曼彻斯特大学的邢敏杰博士。So I'm really pleased and honored to invite Dr. Xing Minjie from University of Manchester to join us today in this interview series called Ask Expert. 邢老师你好 Would you like to say hi to friends of the Espresso?
Hi, Catherine. Thanks for having me here.
Great to have you. So if you're new to this channel, in this interview series Ask Expert, we invite established Chinese educators to share about their research, their unique teaching approach, and hopefully we'll also give you some advice in terms of how to best learn Chinese. So before we start, I have the great honor to formally introduce Dr. Xing. So Dr. Minjie Xing is a senior Chinese tutor and course unit director of business Chinese at the University of Manchester in the UK. She has published in top journal publications and 2 monographs on education technology used in language and culture. She specialized in intercultural communication between China and the UK, as well as the integration of language and culture in language education. So it's really nice to have her here to share her research very specifically in terms of culture and how do we understand the culture and use that knowledge in language teaching and learning. So over to you, Xing 老师.
Thanks, Catherine. Let me share my screen then. So here we are, thought patterns in different cultures. Let's start from a picture. Can you see it as a duck or a rabbit?
Oh, I saw a duck.
You see a duck. So if you change another angle, if you look at this way, so this is the eye, the head.
Yes, I have to turn my head the other way to see it, yes.
So for the same image, different people might have different perceptions, and this applies to cultures. People from different cultures might see things differently. We are learning language. From language, we can see this part, but the culture is beneath. With language, you can say what people eat, what they dress, what festivals they celebrate. These are easy to see. But why they are doing this in this way? And that is the culture, beliefs, assumptions, including thought patterns. And today we are dealing with one branch of culture, which is thought patterns. Recently, there is quite interesting research by an American. And in this experiment, they have a basket of orange, and they have 2 groups of people, one Chinese, one American. For the Chinese group of people, they choose the ones which are about to get old, to go off, and leave the best last. For the American group, they choose the best first. If at the end 1 or 2 go off, then let it go. And also for grapes, the Chinese will choose the sour ones first and leave the sweet ones last. And the American group, they will choose the sweet first. And then they choose the best first. And to approve this point, they choose 2 very extreme examples. And this couple are from the most wealthy family in Hong Kong. And in such a rich family look, she is wearing the accessory with 1 yuan, less than 10p. Catherine, look around at your home. Can you find anything that is less than 10p you can wear out?
No.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably not to mention in a rich family. No, why they are doing this? The beneath is that the Chinese ideology is that be thrifty. No matter how rich you are, you should be thrifty all your time. That is the virtue. And they eat the orange which are about to go off because they want to leave the good ones so that they can share with others. And the best should last. This last has double meanings. One is the object of beginning. One is the verb, which means continue, really last longer. And for that lady we saw just now, she is actually a diving queen. She won several gold medals in Olympics. And she gave so much money to children in poorer area for their education. So it is their virtue, it is their belief. Well, the Americans, they think, no matter it is grape or orange, should have full use of it when it is in good time. And to share with others, I have it first before the others. And the best should, well, it is the best, why not to have it? Best first. And to wear something expensive, it is quality of life. So it is their belief. If these are from research, from books, from scholars, these are from real life. Because my students, I'm teaching business Chinese, my students all have Chinese business partners. So from dealing with these people, they get to know that Chinese, they seem to judge people from the outside to the inside, from what you wear. If you wear so not so decent, then can you be my business partner? They judge you overall before they go to details. English is just the opposite. My students judge people from what you say, what you do, and then decide if you can be my business partners. And above the water, what they eat. For lunch, the Chinese people think, oh, I have hard work today. I need to have a great energy. So look at their lunch, meat, vegetable, everything. They want to have more energy. But for the English students, very simple. They think if I eat too much, I will be sleepy. Indeed, after lunch, look, Chinese staff just have at their desktop where the English work where you work. To get the deal done, the Chinese people, my students are puzzled. We haven't done anything. Why invite us for dinner? Actually, later they get to know there is no free lunch. Chinese people are assessing you in informal environment. When you are quite relaxed, your personality, your characters reveal yourself. And if they judge that this person, this is, looks, seems to be a prospective, maybe then they can think about the business. But for my English students, get the deal done first. If this deal is done smoothly, then we will be friends. They are doing some serious business actually, and when they are there trying to sign the contract, they see they have to get to 科长, 处长, different layers of authorities. It's just so complicated. And after something is agreed already, they still bargaining from all different angles. One student is doing the house renting. If they cannot get the price of rent down, they will say, can furnish be included? Can fridge or fan or even the curtain be included? And later they think of something else, and then they come again. And let's talk about this. Let's talk about they add something, and then They still have to have the group decision before the contract is signed. The English on this side, individual, I am there representing my company. So I have the final word. I don't have to ask this, that. And they come back again. They think that English students think this is interruption. This is not efficient. What were you doing before we come to sign the contract? You think before you act. Otherwise, it's not productive. The Chinese way to say no, they initially keep my students quite happy. Oh, we will 考虑, 考虑. When they say 考虑, 考虑, actually it means no. But my students think they want to 考虑, 考虑, they will think seriously about it. If they say 研究, 研究, they think they will do some research on it. When they say discuss, my students, and they will discuss about it. And if they say 请示, 请示, they might ask the senior for approval. They have great expectations, but actually what they say is indirectly to say no. And 意向合同, my students are really puzzled by this provisional contract. For the Chinese, it's only a symbol of progress. It's only a proof that both sides are getting close. It's only a start to develop a relationship. But for the English students, a contract is contract. It is rule, it's the law, it's serious business. So they think it is early stage. It's far from perfect. My students think they do according to a certain standard. They have a standard to maintain. From that standard contract, they alter only specific thing to fit the current situation context. They only revise the specific points, quite straightforward, transparent. After all these 意向合同, eventually they signed the contract. It is signed already. But for the Chinese, after it is signed, still, can you lower this price? Can you think about this? For the English students, nothing can be changed. It is signed already. If you want to change, it costs. You have to pay for that. So my students' assumption is that the Chinese do things in a very circular way. No matter what price you give, they still want to cut it down. They do it piece by piece, little by little. The English is quite linear. No matter it is the price is high or low, is it value for money? Is it worth? If it is worth, then it is a better price. So they see things in a whole system. Assumption is assumption. They think the Chinese is circular because they see things from different angles, aspect. They balance from the little things, and they are quite flexible. And they think English is linear because they either A or B. So it is quite straightforward. But this is only assumption we need to prove. So I go to find a theoretical base. This is the Kaplan's theory. The theory is the thought pattern in different cultures. Kaplan proposes in 1966, and his PhD student advocated later on. Their proposal is that the English thought pattern is quite a linear way. Well, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Oriental, they do from the outside the circle, moving to the inside until the last they come to the core. That is the key. And this is the theory. I need to prove it with my own experiment. So I did academically, I invited 30 Chinese students to write in Chinese, 30 English students to write in English, 30 Chinese students writing in English, and 30 English students writing in Chinese on the same topic with the same word number to see if It is this circular or linear thought pattern. And to be more specific, I use Kaplan's 5 features of contrastive rhetoric. Is it inductive or deductive? Is it 起承转合 or linear way, introduction, body, conclusion? Is it circular or linear to express ideas? Do they use a metaphorical way or straightforward way, such as idioms, to show the wrong way? Is it implicit or explicit? Now, the result is that Chinese start from very broad. The current situation worldwide, very big, broad, and then narrow down. The function of that is to give background, to give the context. It is to orient you, leading you to the core. The English, my topic is today. Very straightforward. This is what I'm going to write. This is what I'm going to talk about. And then they can generate that to the broad. This can be applied to this, to that, to that, to that. And the Chinese do use the 起承转合, 起 to prepare readers, 承 to carry on, 转, it seems to be, why you are talking about this? Because they want to see it from a different angle, and different angle. And to sum up, it is come back to the core. That is the sum, not the end. And the English way, just introduction, body, conclusion, it is linear pattern. Because they move round, it is circular against linear. And they use the inductive, and the English use the Chinese use inductive, and the English use deductive. The Chinese use a lot of metaphors. They do not say it directly. They use some other metaphors to indicate you should get point. Use it implicit way. It is indeed. So let's recap from at least from the Kaplan theory. From this experiment, we can see that the Chinese, they do have the circular thought pattern. The English is the linear pattern. So when we are learning language, we need to be aware of the cultural differences and accept, respect different cultures, so that you can interact successfully with people across different cultural backgrounds. We started from a picture. Let's finish with a picture. Can you see it as a young or old lady, Catherine?
I see a young lady.
Yeah, because you are young, you have the same thought pattern. And the old, you might need some indication. This is one eye. This is the other, and this is the nose, and this is mouth. And now, can you see the old lady?
Yes, it's the one with a bit long chin, right?
That's right, long chin, yes. So that echoes back to different cultures, see things differently from different perspectives.
Well, thank you so much, Xing Laoshi. It's really fascinating, and actually, you're the first, scholar to come to this program talk about culture, which is so important because learning language is, cannot be separated from culture. And also, I really like the aspect when you talk about negotiation, because I think that would be really, really useful for a lot of business students. I wondered, because of this, difference you mentioned about the different process in negotiation, what are the things that you think will be, useful to bear in mind? And do you have any examples in terms of misunderstanding and how we can maybe avoid that?
And yes, I have plenty of examples. And because the Chinese hierarchy, they have to go different layers of authority. And because my students are English, they have the Western face. So when they are there, they go straight. right to the top person who has the last word. So, so he jumps all these layers and right to the, actually the person in higher position are easier to talk with.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
So the direct approach actually worked.
Yes, that is the direct linear thought pattern. Yes. So they jumped all these layers of authorities and find that really the top person are really nice, the kind that they understand you very, they can cooperate very smoothly and warmly. And yeah, that is the shortcut.
Yeah, that's a nice example. It's useful to know sometimes it's actually the differences actually works in your favor. But are there other situations you think it's really important to be aware so that you don't actually offend, your Chinese counterpart, or maybe, you lead to some kind of discomfort situation or embarrassing situation?
What I would suggest, or what I get from my students, is that you do need to have your group. In Chinese way, it is called inner circle. For my students, they have a group so that whatever they come across, they share it among them. So they accumulate this kind of experience so that they can avoid later uncomfortable conflict. And also it's important to talk among your friends, among your colleagues. If you feel something not your way, talk with the people who are close to you so you can share the ideas. And also, while you are learning the language, you need to accumulate culture as well. Just now we have seen the iceberg. You only know the top, that's tiny little. So really it is the underneath part. You need to know more about culture so that you can be quite successfully or smoothly in your career, conduct your business and develop your career.
Yeah, I mean, your students are really lucky because they have you to explain to them, right? The invisible bit. But for any students who just want to explore Chinese culture, what would you recommend them to do? What's the starting point? Because there's so many hidden things. So how can they discover? How can they understand?
Make some friends, make some Chinese friends. You do need really good friends. You can. It's not like in the Facebook, you have hundreds, who cares about you? You only need a couple who do care about, who do share your ideas. So whatever you come across, talk with these friends.
So have some friends you can really share thoughts and
Yes,
explore the differences.
yeah, you can talk, you can make comments, you can.
And then talking a little bit about your research and also your research finding, because that's really, really helpful for students who want to develop writing skills in Chinese, because as you explained, the style is very different. So one of the challenge, because I just wondered, do you think, because we have a lot of Chinese students also have the Western education nowadays, does the writing style change, or have we become a little bit more Westernized? And how can we also then introduce the Chinese style to the English student, because that's not being accepted as the conventional writing style in this culture? So how do you see basically the culture change, and what's the best way to influence the writing style in real work?
You get the point. It does change. It does change. There was a research exploring the students, Chinese students coming to the UK for the first 2 years. And after 5 years, after 10 years, and they can see the trend, it does change. And for the top ones after 10 years, what they recommend, because after 10 years, they are either postdoc or lecturer already, what they recommend is that in your area, read the academic papers like journal articles, every single paper in the most recent 5 years, every single one, you do not skip one. So every single one in your area, 5 years of publication, then you'll know their style, their thought pattern, their way to express themselves.
I see. Yeah, that requires ongoing learning and ongoing paying attention and learn. Yeah, okay, great. So my final question, really important one for all the friends at the Espresso. If you were going to give 3 top tips for learning Chinese, what would that be from your perspective?
What I would say is that while you are learning the language, you need to be constantly aware of its culture. And from that picture, the iceberg, always keep that in mind. What you learn is above the level and above the water level, and why they are doing it in this way. What beliefs behind that? What values drive them to do it in that way? Because these are the roots. Once you have got the roots, every phenomenon is obvious. You don't need to explain them. You only need to know the roots. I would also suggest that if you can have a little bit touch of Chinese philosophy, for example, their way of keeping healthy, food, dairy, is part of it. It goes with the season. With the season, you have that intake that keeps you healthy. And also the mood. How can you keep that mood, that kind of a spirit in a healthy state so that you can both physically and spiritually feel healthy? So if you really know the things beneath, underneath, you will have a lot of fun to explore. You want to know further. The more you want to know, the more you want to know further.
Great, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your wonderful research and particularly the importance of learning Chinese language through its culture. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks everyone for watching. So till next time, take care. Bye.